planning for development for the future. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take about 5 to 10 minutes of time and discuss with you another aspect that I think China and the United States can cooperate together. Energy was a global issue among many other things that leaders of China and the United States used to find common interests in working together. And there's plenty of room for them to develop. But the two countries today are in dire need to find another common ground for cooperation. 3.5 years ago, Chinese President Xi Jinping put forward his strategic vision, known shortly as the One Belt and One Road Initiative. And now it's called the Belt and Road Initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, please watch the PPTs that are put together especially for you. And there is a new model of connectivity among peoples, and now, most applicably, between China and the United States. However, connectivity is not merely about building roads and bridges or making linear connection of different places on the surface. More importantly, it should be a three-dimensional combination of infrastructures, institutions, and people-to-people exchanges, and a five-way multifaceted progress in policy communication, infrastructure connectivity, trade link, capital flow, and understanding among peoples. And maybe even more, and should be so. Infrastructures consisting of thoroughfare, roads, airspace, ship, lanes, and high-speed rails, electric grids, including supergrids, smart grids, fiber optics for communication, and pipelines, including oil, for gas, for water, and for sewage, provide this very skeleton framework for the Belt and Road Initiative. But what are the characteristics of this One Belt, One Road Initiative? Looking back in history, we can learn from the ancient Silk Road that there were three. Perhaps people is the most central element. Why is this initiative for regional cooperation named as a belt and a road instead of a group or plan like G7 and the Marshall Plan? The answer is people. The new initiative is not just about government-to-government platform, but people-to-people exchanges. True, the process is underpinned by government bodies, especially in the formative stages when infrastructure building provides for the necessary backbone of the BRI. But the materialization of this grand vision revolves around people. And it was the many ordinary people across the continent, and particularly the small, medium, and individual enterprises, that actually connected the East and the West by interactions, exchanges, and trade. Diasporas in the neighboring countries could all be mobilized to forge steadfast bonding with the people of all countries. The second characteristic of this new model of connectivity is goodwill. This initiative is open to all countries and peoples interested in being connected for mutual development, regardless of the forms of government, cultural and religious backgrounds, or geographical location. Common development was once the super glue that bonded different countries along the ancient Silk Roads together, and equal footage is what made this win-win situation possible. Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, black, white, yellow people were benefited equally from trades and exchanges along the Silk Roads. Western media often refer to the recent rise of China as threats. Indeed, in the last 5,000 years, the Chinese has recorded at least 4 periods of prosperity, 4 peaceful rises without colonies or threats. Whereas Julius Caesar said, "I came, I saw, I conquered," the Chinese said, "I came, I saw, I made friends, and I went home." Not one battle was fought, not one colony seized, and nobody was enslaved. So the new initiative should not be construed as China's ambition to become a regional hegemon, but China's reaching out, offering friendship and peace. More accurately, it is also about China's bringing in. Motivated by goodwill, China is inviting peoples and countries along the Silk Road to build a community of shared interests and common destiny. A community in which no one is left behind and no one has to take second place. We all have different pasts, but we also have a common future to face. Yes, the overall vision of the One Belt, One Road initiative is expected to bring about shared economic, cultural, and social prosperity. But unlike other regional cooperation projects, which have a fixed policy agenda and set mechanism, the One Belt, One Road initiative is but a grand vision, providing ample room and infinite room for creative solutions and possibilities. It is more ambitious and far-sighted, and at the same time more flexible, accommodating, and adaptable to new conditions and challenges than the ancient Silk Roads. It provides an overarching theme and umbrella under which all sorts of cooperation can be made possible. Simply put, the One Belt, One Road initiative is neither about seeking for spheres of influence nor striving for hegemony. It is about connecting countries and peoples, accommodating differences, embracing diversities, realizing potentials, and enabling various goals and prospects. However, mutual understanding is the most difficult task in international cooperation. In fact, it might take hundreds of years for the West to understand what constitutes China and Chineseness. In recent past, starting in the 15th century, the West has knocked on the ancient doors of China for at least 3 times. In recent history, the first ever attempt by the West to understand and open up China began in the Yuan dynasty with Marco Polo, and then in the late Ming dynasty, during which Jesuit priests Matteo Ricci and Joaquin Bouvet visited China. The second knock came in 1840, when Britain invaded China and launched the First Opium War. China's doors were pried ajar against will. The third knock on the door of China came in the midst of the Cold War in 1972, when President Richard Nixon from the United States visited China, offering an olive branch to China to integrate into the global economic system of the era. For more than 100 years, after being brought to its knees at gunpoint by the West, China has awakened, realizing that it had to catch up with the Western world. When Deng Xiaoping came into power with rapid economic advancement, China moved towards a moderately well-off society. Now, looking back in recent history, Chinese has also knocked on the doors of the West at least twice. In the Han Dynasty 2,000 years ago, the first Silk Road on land by Zhang Qian, offering trade and peace. And in the 15th century, just about 600 years ago, the second Silk Road at sea, championed by Zheng He, bringing trade and peace again. The 21st century will see us embarking on the third Silk Road. The grand vision of the Belt and Road is the third knock on the doors of the West. Indeed, it's a bang on our neighbors' doors. The 2 previous Silk Roads traded tea, silk, spices, exotic fruits, jewelry, and gold. This 21st century Silk Road trades for, apart from creative ideas, views and perspectives, traditions and legacies. It trades values. It exchanges kindness. It offers peace. This modern Silk Road travels neither by sea nor by land, nor goes from one place to another, but travels through the inner workings of the human mind, driven by a desire to captivate the advantages of peaceful competition in this globalized world. When One Belt, One Road was launched in 2013, we knocked on American doors, which did not open at all. And today, we are banging on Mr. Trump's doors and China open sesame. And after today's discussion, I must say that our open sesame is a big yell to the new American administration to reconsider the Belt and Road Initiative as an impetus to rethink and realign the U.S. foreign policy for the new century. I can suggest a few possibilities and outline the areas for the new administration's consideration as follows. 1. Consider using the Belt and Road Initiative as a platform to spearhead initiatives and programs conducive to a closer cooperation between China and the United States. 2. Realign trade agreements with Pacific countries and also Atlantic countries to accommodate the Belt and Road initiatives. 3. Consider inviting China's participation in rebuilding infrastructures development in the U.S. homeland. 4. Adjust U.S.'s position in developing banks and promote their capabilities to assist in financial arrangement to support infrastructure development. And 5, provide leadership to assure security on land and at sea for the Belt and Road Initiative infrastructures and related projects. And lastly, leverage U.S. roles in international organizations to support and promote the spirit and effort of the Belt and Road Initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, this Modern Silk Road is a visionary strategy for sustainable growth and development that is inclusive of all mankind. It is not just for China or for the United States, but a model for all countries and all peoples. Motivated by goodwill, China is inviting the American people and countries of USA to build a community of shared interest and common destiny. A community where no one is left behind and no one has to take second place. This Modern Silk Road teaches us to learn mutual respect and to recognize that despite our different backgrounds and upbringings, there are fundamental values we all hold dear, basic principles we all respect, and core understandings we all embrace. By reaching out and bringing in, we can create a world of peace, friendship, and prosperity. Ultimately, the Belt and Road Initiative is about the building dreams and realizing them. The Belt and Road Initiative is an affirmative answer to the question of a civilization's future, setting out a path to a world where everyone can live spiritually fulfilling lives, free of want, in harmony with nature, and in long-standing times of peace. This dream is not only the dream of 1.3 billion Chinese, one that has endured over 5 millennia of civilization. It can also be an American dream. As foreseen long ago by Adam Smith, the world is arriving at, quote, equality of courage and force, unquote. We should gladly enter the age of sustainable development in which the preeminent aim of all countries, and especially the great powers, is to work together to protect the environment and the remnant of extreme poverty and guard against the senseless descent into violence based on antiquated ideas of the dominance of one place or one people over another. The Belt and Road Initiative is a bridge connecting a China dream with the world, with the American dream, and into the world dream, which is a dream of peace under heaven and the world as one. And this is the dream that belongs to all of us. It belongs to you. It belongs to me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your